What Roncy is, High Park is the sort of recreational part, and Roncesvalles is the culture and provisioning.
And there are a lot of different people from various places.
What I see, so I see different shops and bakeries and the streetcar going by, and I tried to draw my dog.
The feeling of neighborhood.
In the middle, and I love how people are sitting down and chilling on their blanket.
Vibrant and truly diverse scene. Diverse in age, diverse in ethnicity, diverse in socioeconomic class.
In the neighborhood park, and there's toys, and there's singing, and there's laughter, and we're fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of nature in this park. A lot of bicycles.
Trees, because that's something that really stands out in the neighborhood for me.
The greenery, all the trees because of High Park.
Very naturally beautiful. You know, you're walking around and you see the trees and the flower.
It's an oak savanna. It's one of the most intact examples of a mature oak savanna anywhere in Ontario.
I see a family community everywhere.
I don't have to go anywhere to get anything. It is my own little city. And
I have to leave Parkdale to go to work and to go visit people who don't live here.
I just think it makes you happier not to have to get into a car or a bubble that takes you out of that kind of zone.
It still has a lot of urban grit. It attracts all kinds of foodies and chefs. We have all the constantly having like restaurants that are people just line up for with funky new things.
To the shops and access to transportation, because where I live I have access to 3 streetcar lines.
I think we have almost everything that we need around here. So we are quite comfortable.
Roncesvalles is a unique street in all of Toronto because it has this sort of European aspect of passeggiata that you very rarely see. Because all of the walking is concentrated on one side. You do your shopping at the end of the day, you see your neighbors, you kind of walk up and down at a sort of leisurely pace. But I think it's actually one of the most European streets in the whole city.
So whatever you can think of that you're missing, it will be within 1 or 2 blocks around you.
that to me is the beauty of the neighborhood, is that it's all right here. Step 40 seconds from my front door and be in the deepest, darkest woods in High Park.
Because there's so much new things that are going on that I feel separated from by living here and working here. It's easy to be separated from the rest of the city, which is also why I brought up Parkdale. It's very easy to be separated from something 10 minutes away because so much is here.
The thing that's difficult now is getting downtown for work, even though it's, you know, it's only 2 miles to downtown, but it's a 2 miles that's completely jammed with cars on all the major streets.
Roncesvalles, again, is at the convergence of pretty much every good form of transit, like all of the streetcars and the Blue Air subway. It's also extremely bikeable to every other place in the city.
And running and riding bikes and various sports taking place around.
Say community, like coming from where I used to live in Niagara, like you don't know your neighbors and you don't associate with them at all, but I know so many people in my building.
And it's a great place for our kids. A lot of people share the same values and lifestyle as us. An urban feel, which is still neighborly.
It's very much centered around kids.
There is a strong sense of community that is the culture of this neighborhood?
Reminiscent of a small town without being kind of nostalgically reminiscent. So you tend to see, you become a regular. And to me, that's really a really important aspect of feeling connected. So you know Mark from the cheese store, and you know Len from the hardware store, and you feel like you have a personal connectedness. And
Like to view people jogging around and moving around.
Safety, happiness, like financial security, a job. Well,
Poor people live around here. A lot of sick people, mentally challenged.
This is in here for everybody gathering together to make something of every season.
A built-in notion of acceptance. I mean, if there's one thing that unites Parkdale, it's if you live there, there's a notion of acceptance.
The culture of this neighborhood is people who call the outdoor bits home as well as the indoor bits.
Ruth, who lives in the co-op down on the next block and walks her dog by probably 3 times a day and is extremely talkative. And I think she's probably representative of maybe a half dozen people in the neighborhood who are, you really feel like you know your neighbors.
there's people of all ages, diversity, cultural diversity.
Because it's a mix between renters and owners, so you get all kinds of different people in this neighborhood. You're not walking up and down the street and seeing yourself in everybody. You're seeing a really good mix of people. So this neighborhood is a huge part of my quality of life and what I kind of want my city to be like.
Neighborhood has to have that element of openness.
Connectedness to all of the things that are the kind of underlying values, like
into acceptance. If that makes you a slight bit uncomfortable, you're not even looking.
Living in a Parkdale actually gave me a better understanding, I could say, about different cultures.
Without community, without a village, I don't think that I would feel happy in my day.
See people who are mentally unwell, I would say. Those kind of things just impacts me a lot, and I feel for them. If you can't contribute to somebody's happiness, at least don't contribute into his misery.
Roncesvalles, there's not any low-income housing.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, happiness is a brain chemical feeling, so I think what we're talking about is what makes that happen. And I think people, whether we like it or not, we don't really, in the end, we don't really have much else except each other.
Common ground with people that you care about where you live and you care about each other and where you work, and so happiness to me is more about having that care and responsibility to each other.
Happiness, I think, it comes within yourself. How satisfied that you might be with your lifestyle, as long as you're well-fed, and little exercise, and I think that's happiness.
In life, what's important is to be connected.
And people actually talk to each other. That's maybe one of the signs of happiness. If you go to very well-to-do neighborhoods, nobody's talking to each other. Basically people are walking their dogs out there. And it's kind of like whether the dog is taking the people for a walk or the person for a walk, or the person's taking the dog for a walk. So I think Parkdale is much better in that sense. People are talking, at least. Like you and me, we are talking, right? So that's what happiness is all about.
Living in a neighborhood where I can go for a walk at night down any street and feel safe and secure, and seeing people and kids that I've known for a long time.
Lots of trees, because that's something that really stands out in the neighborhood.
Aspect of Parkdale, and I was trying to have this bit of an afro over here, a bit of a plain hair, Chinese plain hair, a bit of a, the Caucasian part, and kind of the face is basically it's the same thing because I was trying to show that humanity has the same face, whatever it is not. And then the LCBO part is like happiness. Okay, and then the flower part is basically the beauty in the happiness. Okay, and then the other part is like this guy has a big, one of those boots over here. Yes, into boots. So I was trying to show the well-to-do part of the pigtail, and this side he has no shoes. So then the other part of pigtail, where there's a lot of people with nothing basically, and this is the. If you want to drop some coins over here, that's right over there for him. That's the pigtail. There's a sunshine and there's a cloud too.